If games could have children and Spelunky and Dark Souls had a bit of a thing for each other, then Rogue Legacy would be the inevitable fruit of their digital loins.
Yes, this is a deceptively simple-looking 2D roguelike where you charge headlong into a randomly generated castle. It's full of ferocious monsters, tricky traps, and deadly bosses who are only too happy to cut your life short.
After the king gets unceremoniously assassinated by your tutorial self, you take up the role of his children to avenge his death.
Every time you die, you get to choose from one of 3 heirs to continue the quest. Each heir has a specific class, such as barbarian or mage, as well as some more unique traits, usually either a disease or a disability combined with a personality quirk.
Yes, I think this is the first game where I've actually played as a bearded lesbian mage with involuntary swearing.
Yeah, there are some pretty wacky combos, but surprisingly, more often than not, they can actually be quite useful. Dwarfism will help you get into locked away locations, while having OCD will replenish your mana when you break furniture, for example. And you will be breaking a lot of furniture since it drops precious gold.
Some traits are a little annoying though. Being short-sighted will make most of the screen quite fuzzy, but the worst one we found was vertigo, which turned the whole world upside down. There are some funny ones though, like irritable bowel syndrome.
As we said though, this is a brutal game and most of your characters won't survive 5 minutes. But each heir takes whatever gold you managed to collect in your previous life and spend it on leveling up and buying new gear. So while it does beat you down, you generally are making a bit of progress as well.
Yeah, I think some will find it a little grindy, but I actually quite like the difficulty curve. I was always ready to come back in and give it another go with my more experienced self.
Yeah, and the fact that the castle is randomly generated stops it from getting too repetitive as well. In saying that, the castle is always laid out roughly the same with 4 areas. You've got the castle to start with, the forest to the right, the mire above, and the land of darkness sits below. To beat the game, you have to defeat the boss of each of these areas to unlock the door to the final battle.
You're free to tackle each area in whichever order you like, but a low-level character will get decimated in the tougher areas, so you'll want to attack them in the right order.
And there's a vast skill tree with hundreds of levels to climb to help you get there. Although I will say I wasn't a big fan of the way it hides away upgrades until you've unlocked adjacent ones. It just makes it impossible to plan out what kind of upgrade path you want to take.
I didn't mind that so much because each new option just felt like a nice surprise, and plus it encourages you to explore and try new paths.
Yeah, fair enough, I guess. I just like to see what upgrades I'm aiming for and then, work towards that.
Kind of everything you want, Hex.
Can't I? You'll also need to hunt down blueprints within the castle to unlock new bits of armour. These are often hidden away in special fairy chests, which only unlock if you meet tricky objectives. Sometimes you might have to simply kill the enemies in a room, but usually you have to get past some devious spikes without taking damage. Although a few wanted us to get to them without jumping, which just seemed impossible.
Yeah, it must be some upgrade that we haven't found yet.
Yeah, probably.
It is worth trying your best to get new bits of armour, as they have some invaluable special traits. One set, for example, has +1 vampirism for each piece you wear, giving you a bit of health for each kill you make, and you need every scrap of health you can get.
There are also runes which give you certain buffs, like giving you the ability to double jump or even fly, and you can even stack multiple of the same runes, so you could triple or quadruple jump if you wanted. So there are a lot of ways to customize your character to suit your style.
I also like the little carnival games scattered about the place. They're just little games of skill that give you some gear or gold if you did well. I never did well, but I liked trying.
It takes a fair bit of precise jumping and timing to get through, and I struggled a little bit to pull that off using a keyboard and mouse. I'd definitely recommend playing with a controller. That certainly felt a lot better to me.
I love this game, Hex. It's the perfect in-between game. When you're in between 2 big AAA games, it's nice just to slot it in there and a little half-hour chip away at it. It's deep but simple, brutal but funny, and always rewarding in all the right places. So I'm giving it 9 out of 10 rubber chickens. The
grind did start to get to me after a while, but I kept coming back for more. Can I call this charmingly sadistic? I'm going to. I'm giving it 8 out of 10.